Good evening and welcome to the public hearing of the Common Council tonight, Tuesday, August 9th, 7:25. We're still having a few moments of open comment regarding local law number 3-2022. That's a law to change the zoning, local law for a zoning change at One Namick Place, Glens, New York, from single-family medium-density residential to heavy industrial. So single-family medium-density residential R1-B to heavy industrial HI. Just to give everybody, remind everybody what this is there was one lot on our Pines Island in the middle of an industrial zone that was, for reasons that nobody is aware, was left as residential. It stands alone on the entire Pines Island, wedged between our park at Havens Cove and then the entire Pines Island industrial site. And so it made perfect sense for us to change this zone. We've got a few minutes left of public comment, and then we'll close that public comment. And if no questions are unanswered, so we'll just sit in public comment for a few more minutes until 7:30, answer any questions, and then close that and have a vote tonight about adopting this law and the seeker finding that is attached with it. Any public comment, anybody from the public would like to address the council regarding this local law number 3-2022? Seeing none, and Peter, I ask you to take one quick look online. Give it a message online. Yeah. Nobody has? Okay. Does anybody from the council have a question about this local law? If not, we'll just sit quiet until we get to 7:30. Or, yeah, that's it. 7:30. Oh, there we go. Look at that. 7:30. That clock's wrong. Look at that. All right. So with that, it's 7:30 and no one having comment. I think, do we need a motion to close this public hearing, or do we just close it? We just close it.
You make a motion.
So I'd like to accept a motion, if anyone has one, to close this public hearing and to close this public hearing on local law number 3-2022.
So.
Do we have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. So now I will open the Common Council meeting of Tuesday, August 9th, 2022. We begin the evening, welcome to the chambers, and we'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, and I believe tonight is led by Councilman Lappel.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So again, it's time for public comment. So if anybody from the public would like to address the council, please come forward and give us your name and address. Seeing no one coming forward, Peter, do we have anybody online? Great. So then we'll move to committee reports. Councilman Clark, committee reports.
I have no report, but the Community Development, Economic Development Committee will be meeting in the near future to discuss the Complete Streets program.
Great.
Proposal.
Awesome. And I had a meeting today with the folks from the Lake Champlain, Lake George Regional Planning Council, who have worked on complete street policies with other communities and have offered to meet with you at least to understand what they've done and see if you would like to consider engaging with them on this topic. So when you have a final date, just let me know and I'll forward it.
I can send a draft and, and report it to you and report it on.
Yeah, great. Awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah, afterwards.
Yeah, awesome. They just came in today to let me know more about their program, and they mentioned that was one of the examples of things they've done. So I was going to just, once you had that information, give you their information and let you engage with them, and have them come to your meetings and see. I had no idea if it's relevant or not, but it's worth talking to. No cost to the city. If they helped us write a grant to, if it felt that it was important, then what they do is if they got the grant, then they administer the grant as part of that, and the city still wouldn't cost the city anything. And if they didn't get the grant, then it wouldn't cost the city anything. So I'll let you guys see how that fits. Okay.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thank you. Let's see, committee reports. Councilman Donovan.
Well, reporting, got together with Tom Gerard, Tom and met with the Water and Sewer Department, and he wanted me to take a look at the interior of the field house in East Field. So there's about 5 of us, myself, Tom, 3 of Tom's workers, and he was in here now, anyways, Pat was with us. So level 1 was split between visitors, home team, and refs for locker rooms, bathrooms, spaces for putting football equipment, so on and so forth. Level 2 was just one large room. Not in bad shape. The interior is surprising. I thought it would be in good shape, but it needs some work. Windows need to be replaced, they need doors. But all in all, it's doable. If I had a choice, I'd rather save it and tear it down. It would be less money saving it than actually tearing it down. So I apologize for stepping on the recreation days. But Thomas,
I think that you should, if you wouldn't mind, going to the next recreation committee and letting them know what you saw. That's great, because I know that I found old information that said that it was evaluated for potentially being knocked down, but it was over 10 years ago. And I think maybe they didn't knock it down for the reason that you just mentioned, that I think it's structurally sound and the roof's not leaking, but they probably just didn't have the money to invest in the new windows and doors that it might need and the cleanup of it. So it's great. I think we should get that information to them so they can add it to the other assessments. It's great. Councilman Landry, let's see, committee reports.
The Labor Relations Committee met recently with the City Fire Department Union. We've come a long ways. We've got quite a ways, I think, to go yet. But I think that we will ultimately end up with a contract that's good for both parties, the city and the firefighters. I hope so. So we'll be meeting again the 6th of September, I think it is, with the fire department to see if we can iron some more things out.
Fantastic. Thank you. Councilwoman Palmer.
The Building and Codes Committee met, and we had an update. As everybody knows, we've been restructuring that department. So we gave them some time to do some work, and we met with them to see how it's been going. We found that they had made a lot of progress in terms of technology, utilizing the software, getting everybody knowing how to access everything they need to access. They've done some workflow, kind of process work to help the department flow, and also to get information between them and the planning board, etc. They think at this point they're ready to reopen full-time to the public, so we would like to, we're excited to recommend that the person who's doing the part-time, I don't remember the name of the title, but the part-time administrative work be moved to full-time, so we can move back full-time open to the public. Also, we have candidates for the open positions, and I know that, I don't know if you have an update about that you'd like to give later, but I know that we've made progress on one of the positions, and we have interviews coming up for the other position. So that's good news. We had a lengthy discussion about developing good process for communication between the department and the council, and the department and the public, and so we're still making sure that we iron all of those things out in the way that we all feel will be the most productive. In the Recreation Committee, kind of piggybacking off of what Councilman Donahue said, we met for two reasons: to talk about getting our bid together for the basketball court at Eastfield, which we are hoping to have within the next week. Jeremy, our city engineer, was there. We had some plans that from the basketball courts at Crandall Park that we were looking at, and it's not going to be as extensive, but the courts will be similar, the materials. So we talked about what we needed to get that bid together, and we're hoping that we will be able to do that in time to get that work done this year, and then maybe the lines might have to be painted next year with the weather. We also spent some time, at your request, Mayor, making an extensive list of what we think the needs of Eastfield are. We had input from Tom Gerard, from Jeremy, from the council members, from Amy Collins, everybody on the committee, and we wanted your input as well because it's your board. So we made a list of our initial thoughts about what needed to be done, but there were several questions that needed to, we needed to go out and check them out. So I think that's part of what you participated in. We also would like to reach out to some of the stakeholders in the area, some of the groups that are involved, and get their input as well. But it is a priority for us to really bring that park and all of our parks up into an exciting condition, I think, for our residents. So that's it.
Great, thank you. And I think Councilwoman Gooden and I spoke today. She's hoping that we can continue that list with Murray Street when we're ready, and so that would be great. And I think that Murray Street probably ought to be next. I think we'll get to all the playgrounds, but I think the next major playground that we should look at is Murray Street. And meanwhile, I'm still waiting for the second $6 million of ARPA money to get deposited in the account, and then that will make our controller less nervous, and that these conversations can continue, and we can look at those needs and what we can address with ARPA money as opposed to what we can address with grant money. And so that's great. Thank you for your work. Let's hope that it's a never-ending summer and we get the lines painted too, right? And that'd be great. And Councilman Lapp.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. On last Wednesday, the Technology Committee met, and we went over the C-Click software with representatives from the city of Albany. And so we asked some questions, we got some feedback. They said they're looking at some other things right now as well, but that overall that they had a positive experience with C-Click. We're also looking at some other vendors, but we're hoping to move quickly on getting something further along with this. Additionally, we spoke with Orbital Fire about some of our policies for the written information services procedures, I think it is. Security procedures. And so we got some feedback from Jeff at orbitalfire.com, who handles that end of it for us. And he told us that we've got the phishing and engagement training going in properly. It was last done in March. It happens, I think, on a quarterly basis. But what he said, he suggested is that we get some of the department heads to send something around to say, please, we're getting these from this thing. We need this to just make sure that we're following proper security procedures. In addition, the Climate Smart Communities Task Force met on Wednesday as well. We talked over complete streets policy and got an update on Antares, which is doing the community inventories and climate action plan for us. They're doing a update, and they were going to get back to Jeff, so we didn't get that in quite in time. And just kind of talked about a couple of other things but nothing major beyond that.
Thank you, sir. Councilwoman Goodwill, committee reports.
Our next special projects meeting will be this August 16th at 2 o'clock in the second floor of the Mayor's Conference Room. We'll have more to report on the next common council meeting.
Great, thank you. And so with that, we should open up to, we'll move to voice vote. Resolution 1 is a resolution approving the minutes of the July 26, 2022 meeting of the Glens Falls Common Council. Resolution 2 is to approve the city clerk's office and monthly PVB report as attached.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Mayor, could you pull 14 for voice?
Yeah. You mean for discussion, right? And we'll
Yeah.
continue to have a roll call vote. Just do it separate.
I need to abstain from that.
Gotcha. Thank you. Any other, council, any other items on the agenda under roll call vote the council would like to pull for discussion? Seeing none, I'll move on to roll call vote. We go 3 is a resolution to increase the general fund revenue line, A 009999-1589, other public safety aid, by $1,600, and increase the general fund expense line A 23410-4404-1 EMS training by $1,600 from the New York State Department of Health reimbursement to the Glens Falls Police Department, Fire Department. Resolution to increase A 00999-2707 police athletic league by $840, and to increase the budget expense code A 229904479 other contracted services by $840. 5 is a resolution to increase the revenue code A 00999-1589 other public safety income by $336.56, and increase the general budget expense code A 23120-1100 personal services overtime by $336.56 for 56 cents for Granite Park softball detail. 6 is a resolution to increase A 00999-1589 other public safety income by $846.91 to increase A 23120-1100 police department overtime by $846.91 as a revenue received for police coverage at Glens Falls High School sporting events. Both of those resolutions are covered by those organizations, just so you know. Those increases were part of the contract, so we're getting that money back. That's what you're seeing, so just so you know. 7, resolution to authorize the controller to move monies from A 119909000 contingency in the amount of $60,000 to A 34012-44887 expert professional services for staff augmentation provided by Labella at the Building Codes Department. 8 is a resolution to approve encroachment permit for Jennifer Bernard Bruce Volk 20 Warren Street, Glens Falls, to place a lift and the scaffolding on the sidewalk next to the building, to have Arts District of Glens Falls paint a mural on the side of the building from August 15, 2022 through September 10, 2022, with the understanding that the area is to be cordoned off to allow pedestrian access on the sidewalk according to ADA regulations. 9 is a resolution to approve encroachment permit for Catherine LeCointe, 144 Glen Street, Glens Falls, to allow the Arts District Glens Falls to place a U-Box storage container in the parking space next to 144 Glen Street for supplies in order to paint a mural on the side of the building from August 18, 2022 through September 1st, 2022 in compliance with ADA regulations for public access on the sidewalk. 10 is a resolution to approve encroachment permit for renewal for Gourmet Cafe, 185 Glen Street, for placement of tables and chairs in front of their restaurant from August 10, 2022 through May 31st, 2023, in compliance with ADA regulations for public access on the sidewalk. 11 is a resolution to approve the authorization of an additional $1,063,000 bonds for the city of Glens Falls to pay for the cost of the transportation alternative improvements for project PIN number 1761.88, and to authorize the increase in Glens Falls Connector Program capital budget and capital account, the capital budget in the amount of $2,146,455 be approved for this project, PIN number 1761.88, and that the Common Council authorize the controller to increase the capital account as represented herein. Resolution to accept the quote by Roselle East in the amount of $28,310 to install scum troughs at the wastewater treatment plant, and authorize the mayor to enter into contract in the form approved by the city attorney to do so. 13 is a resolution to approve the City of Glens Falls Community Development annual payments in the amount of $18,586. 14 is hold. 15 is a resolution to move monies from A11990-9000 contingency in the amount of $57,500 to cover fuel costs for DPW and police to reach the end of fiscal year 2022. Respective budget fuel allocations were prematurely depleted when fuel costs rose dramatically this year, causing the shortfall. Total amount will be split as follows. Increase police department budget line A23120-4321, gas and motor vehicles by $37,000, and increase the DPW budget line A11490-4321, gas and motor vehicles by $6,000, A11490-4325, diesel fuel motor vehicles by $12,000, A23310-432, electric gas by $1,000, and A7710-4321, cemetery gas by $1,500, for a total of $57,500. The DPW and GFPD were consulted and calculated these request amounts as necessary. 16, a resolution to set the public hearing August 23rd, 2022 at 7:25 prior to a regularly scheduled common council meeting for proposed water and sewer fund capital charges for the remainder of funding year 2022. 17 is a resolution to approve the creation of a part-time planning and zoning coordinator position attached to the City of Glens Falls Building and Codes Department, subject to civil service final approval of job title qualifications. The position will provide technical support to the planning and zoning boards. The employee will work for 15 to 20 hours a week at a rate of $22 per hour as attached. 18, a resolution to approve the Seeker State Environmental Quality Review Act negative declaration determined for proposing zoning change local law 3-2022 for one name and place, Glens Falls, New York, and authorize the city clerk's office to file any necessary documents in accordance with the provisions of the general regulations of the DEC, and that the resolution shall take effect immediately as attached. 19, a resolution to accept local law 3-2022, a local law for zoning change at tax map number 309-20-1-1, one name and place, Glens Falls, New York, 12801, for a single-family medium-density residential R1-B to heavy industrial HI as attached. 20, a resolution to recommend the award of the bid contract for the curb and sidewalk replacement citywide for 2022-2023 to Peter Louisi and Brothers Contracting of Waterville, New York, as the sole responsible bidder with a total bid price of $1,565,850 to be paid for the combination of New York State by a combination of New York State DOT money, reimbursement funds, and CPG block community sidewalk neighborhood improvement funds. 21 is a resolution to approve the warrant. Do we have a motion to go to roll call vote?
Second.
Having that pass, roll call vote. Councilman Clark.
Yes.
Councilman Donovan.
Yes.
Councilman Landry.
Yes.
Councilwoman Palmer.
Yes.
Councilman Lappin.
Yes.
And Councilwoman Goodwin.
Yes.
Thank you. That was a mouthful. And so now we'll go back to resolution 14 for another roll call vote, and Councilman Landry will abstain. Resolution 14, to approve a request by Warren Hamilton County's Community Action Agency to use $10,000 of its Community Development Block Grant funding allocation to directly support the Glens City School District's backpack program to aid children in low and moderate income city households in accordance with the HUD regulations regarding the use of CBGCV funding as attached. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Do we have a second? Thank you. So Councilman Clark,
Yes.
Councilman Donovan,
Yes.
Councilwoman Palmer,
Yes.
Councilman Lappin,
Yes.
and Councilwoman Good.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Moving on our agenda. Old business, Councilman Clark.
Just want to say, excited to see that we started paving in the city of Glens Falls. A lot of happy people. We're spending a lot of money on infrastructure this year with example of us passing agenda item number 20 over $1 million for sidewalk and curbing. That's unheard of, and we should be all very proud of that we're taking this action. I think our constituents will be, and infrastructure is a very important thing to our quality of life here in the city of Glens Falls, and so I'm excited to see that. I'm also excited that, and I want to give kudos to the Building and Codes Committee. Started this during the last administration. That now this is starting to come, these pieces of puzzles are starting to come together with our new planning and zoning coordinator. That's something we've talked about for a long time, so it's nice to see that as well. So I want to give kudos to Diana and that group. So, we passed some exciting stuff here tonight, and we shall be very proud of that. So thank you.
Thank you. Old business, Councilman Donovan.
Nothing at this time.
Councilman Landry.
Two things. A quick question on the lighting law. Has the lighting law been approved by the state?
Yes.
It has. And enforcement of it will start
It should start
soon.
now. It
been passed.
has
And will-
been able to be enforced.
Right, and will they address the complaints that are already in the system, or do people need to put them back in?
Good question.
I think it doesn't hurt to reach back out. Ideally, we would address.
Because if a complaint was received before the law was passed, there would be nothing we could have done to act on it. So now they may be repeating the same complaint, but now there's a law that can be enforced.
So it should be.
I think they should make another complaint.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see, Councilwoman Palmer.
I was going to say something very similar to what Councilman at-large Clark said. I was happy to see three streets in the Third Ward, Roosevelt, Empire, and Liberty were milled and paved. So that was exciting. And I know that we've all worked really hard to advocate for our constituents on various projects. And I know several of our work is represented in resolution number 20 with this bid that went out. I'm particularly glad that we are able to include the Goodwill Avenue project that we have worked pretty hard on in this. And I agree that it's very exciting for our city residents that we are investing so much in infrastructure. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you. And Councilman Lapp.
Just wanted to thank Chip for getting the in on a call for a server upgrade. There was a police department, the server, which had thought to have been just a couple of years old, turns out to be over 10 years old. And it's out of life cycle for, and that's one of the ones that they need to have on site. So we'll be talking that over with Stored Tech on Friday. And I just wanted to thank Chip because it could be interpreted as like, well, this is coming off a police budget. But I think it's good to have the technology committee kind of pipe in to say that this seems like an appropriate expense or whether there might be something that could be addressed before it gets to that stage. So I wanted to thank him for that and thank you, Mayor. And I'm excited about the murals coming up. That sounds like a really cool thing. They just got passed in the planning board, so I can't wait to see that stuff come to fruition.
Thank you.
You're gonna have to go first.
Councilwoman, I think we should go the other way.
I'm trying to get to big.
There needs to be some perks here on this side.
That's great. Go ahead, Councilwoman. Good.
Nothing at this time.
No, all right.
Well, it's that.
Very good. New business, how about this, Councilwoman? Good. Councilman Lang? New business?
The Councilor at Large and I have been working on this long-lasting taxi cab revision. And tomorrow I'm going to be presenting some stuff to the Board of Public Safety, or the Public Safety Commission. And I'm looking forward to getting this so that we can get it wrapped up and move on and open up some more spaces and on Mary's committee to get some other work done.
Thank you. Councilwoman Palmer.
I have a question. Do we have some sort of route that trucks are supposed to take in our city when they go?
Good question. I can.
We do have a truck.
There's signage and there's a truck route. That's-
I know that there's something. I'm not 100% clear on what it is, but I have had a couple calls from constituents who are very frustrated because they feel like large trucks, one person today said 18-wheelers and down to smaller trucks have been going down their streets, not because they're doing work on their streets, but using them as a quicker way to get to either the Northway or maybe like Home Depot or Lowe's or something like that because it's a quicker way and it's not good for the canopy of trees because they're big and they cut through the trees and it's also not safe necessarily in the residential neighborhoods for the kids that are out there. So I didn't know if we do have such a policy with clear routes in place, which it sounds like we do, maybe we should put some sort of release out reminding people of that. And I don't know if the police can enforce that a little bit more. But I think, I've had a couple people reach out to me about that, so I think it's worth looking at.
Well, I'll get back to you. That's great. Thank you. I knew I grew up on Ridge Street, and I know that was a complaint of Ridge Street residents. And there must have been some project that was made at one time, a particular thing that I remember. But other than that, I gotta be honest, I don't know. So let me look in.
I've seen some signage that say local deliveries only.
Yeah. So it definitely is there. I just gotta be honest.
We did, a while back, we did a truck route through downtown, to bypass downtown, to be honest with you. When we did the traffic circle, I think it was.
Right, and also when Just Water was coming in,
Right.
they revisited the truck route in and out of downtown from exit 18.
Right.
There's specific signage in and out.
Okay, so we're going the wrong way. So, Councilman Landry, it's difficult enough to me. Councilman Landry, new business.
First of all, I'd like to just recognize the passing of Champ Reardon. For anybody who didn't know who Champ Reardon was, if you grew up in this town, Peter's shaking his head over there. Steve probably remembers Champ Reardon. That's back in the days when everybody had a name. He was Champ. His father was Applehead. His father ran the Recreation Commission. And Champ was kind of like the facilities guy. He was a guy that flooded Crandall Park, made sure that we had ice that you were able to skate on. He was around at all the parks when they used to be active. We had playground, Sagamore, Jackson Heights, Sanford Street, all of those. To be very honest with you, I hadn't seen Champ in a long time, but he's one of those local heroes in my mind because he had a lot of effect on setting the foundation for what we have for recreation in the city today. So I'd just like to acknowledge that he passed away. Secondly, Take a Bite. I think tomorrow night's the last night. It's been successful. It's always successful. We're lucky to have the collaborative. We're lucky to have the city and Amy Collins and those people that put time and money in that. So it's been a good summer for Take a Bite. And I want to thank everybody who was involved. That's it.
Thank you. Councilman Dunn?
Nothing except my mea culpa to the Recreation Committee for stepping on our toes. I had a limited window to see that.
No, we wanted
One
your
day.
input. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Councilman Clark?
Yeah, I'll defer to the council on the first ward, but I did see a notice from the East End Action Committee. They are talking about going and doing a study or assessing the sidewalks in the first ward in September, right?
Right.
So,
I'm involved with Eric. I like to at least bring him back a little bit.
so that's going on. That's going on. Just in case anyone wanted to know
I'm
that.
trying to join him.
I'm actually inviting him in for a meeting so I can help him to understand what we do and how maybe we can work with them moving forward, and make sure that we're not either repeating efforts or anything.
It's a
But,
reduction.
you know, I don't think, I think it could easily be, right? There are several different community groups in the city, and I want to make sure that they all feel welcome, and hopefully I can help to understand as I learn about all the processes that are going on. I think that we mentioned, and do you have anything else?
No.
I don't want
I
to.
just thought of one
Sure.
too, but I can wait for you.
Well, I just, let me just finish with this one anyway, and then, and that is that it's been an amazing learning experience for me regarding the paving and the sidewalk list and the process. And sometimes the process was great, and sometimes the process was not what we wished or thought it was, right? And some of that was limitations of money. We will have spent almost $2.5 million in paving and sidewalk this year. It's well over double of what's been spent in the past, but that's because the federal government has given us more money to do this. So thank our congressmen and our senators for taking care of us, right? And so we're using that money the way we should. I want to make sure we get the most bang for our buck and that we communicate with people, because we're going to do some sidewalks this year that are clearly the residents would be normally on the hook for a 50-50 program. So what you'll see coming out from our office very soon is saying to somebody who might be on the street, hey, we're gonna pave this entire street because it makes sense, or this portion of the street because it makes sense, but your home, this would be your responsibility. Would you give us part of the 50-50 program? Would you donate to it, and we'll put that money back in to next year's sidewalks? If they won't, that's okay too, right? We've got to find the right language, because I simply want it to be an awareness thing. Because I also, next year, I don't know that we're going to, it's not likely that we do have this again. So I think it's great, and these processes, I am learning so much. And I'm trying to let you know as much as I can about this, but I want to make the community know and make sure that they're all feeling welcome, whether it be a Complete Streets group or a Biking Glens Falls group or an East End group, or, right? I mean, there are many, and so I want to make sure we get them all in, help them to understand, and then work with them, because we're all on the same, it's all Go Glens Falls. So I think it's great, it's a great opportunity, so thank you for recognizing that. So now, go ahead, new business.
This was just Saturday. I was home, and and somebody knocked on the door and said, hey, we're from the Crandall Park Beautification Committee, and we're doing a map of Glens Falls of pollinator gardens for like butterflies and bees and such. And they asked me if I'd, have my garden be part of their map, and I said, yeah, of course. And so I just think that's a really neat thing. There's going to be somebody speaking at the park about these pollinator gardens, and then they're going to show everybody the map of where to go to see some pollinators in action.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
Mayor, you signed the Monarch Pledge, right, early in this term, so I think the city's really supportive of that.
That made it possible,
Yeah.
right? Yes, I am I don't know, first Glens Falls Monarch, mayor, I signed us all on for it, I guess. But yes, and that is great, and that opened up to money, right? And that's what, this is all great opportunities for us. It
Also,
made, yes, please.
One thing. I just wanted to remind everyone too of this Saturday, the Warren County Hazardous Household Waste Collection. And that's gonna be from 9 a.m. to 1 o'clock p.m. at the Queensbury Highway Department, 742 Bay Road in Queensbury. So if you have any household waste, that's a safe way to get rid of it.
Great, thank you. And so I was trying to find it, I think it's in, August is, there's an artist group called, there's a group that's being formed by the folks at Park Street Theater for artists to get together and talk about the creative economy. And I'm going to be talking at the panel. They want to talk about the DRI initiative and where that all is and how that will help support the creative economy. And so there is so much going on. And I appreciate you guys. I want to make sure that I mention, give you thanks for your very active committees and the work that's being done. I think it's indicative of what you're seeing come and get passed between us. It is great. We're making huge changes. So I have the announcement is that yesterday started. We have a new employee, a part-time employee, who's the director of the planning and zoning. Planning and zoning coordinator. Her name is Catherine Hamlin, and she had experience. It was truly amazing. If you remember when we had the study done by LaBella, that this position wasn't standalone at first. And the reason was because they didn't believe that we could find a part-time person, that we could either afford to pay a part-time person or find one that would do this kind of work part-time. Much to everyone's pleasant surprise, Catherine actually has a ton of experience, including over 10 years experience as a local government specialist and land use training specialist for New York State Department of State. She actually met with, part of her job was to meet with planning and zoning committees, such as the Glens Falls Planning Committee that she met with roughly 10 years ago, and provided the training of what the responsibilities as commissioners on the board of public, the planning board, what their purview was, what it wasn't, what their responsibilities were, both planning and zoning. She actually did that training. So to hire somebody who's going to support our planning and zoning and can stand kind of alone and help us with that. They will be over, we are starting to, we posted the job for the full-time department head, the building and codes person, and that person will oversee her, but really she'll be independent. It's just that we want to make sure if there's any trouble, or not trouble, but the difficulty, right, that we're communicating, there's nothing outside of the department head. So, but other than that, I mean, I believe Catherine can help clarify the process. We'll be able to help any applicant fill out the correct application completely and get that done, which is, I don't know if you're aware, but our planning and zoning board is, they're very functional and very outside developers love coming to Glens Falls because it's not part of a political process, right? And there's no infighting amongst the board. They literally are there to assess every job on its merits. There's no influence from the mayor. I appoint those people, but then they are independent. And it's been fantastic. So I think this is going to be a great win for us. This is work that started 4 years ago, maybe, with Diana's committee. And so here we go. We're on our way. We are interviewing for the main department. Next week, I believe, starting on Monday, we'll be back open 8 to 4, Monday to Friday in our planning department. We have a temporary hire for that job. She'll need to be, her name is Joanne McTiernan. Joanne will need to be temporary part-time until the results of her civil service exam. And if she scores in the top 3, then great. And if not, then we'll have to go with the list because of civil service. But point is, we're getting back there. And I wanted you all to be aware. It's funny, progress, right? And it never comes as fast as I wish it to, but I hope that you all can appreciate all that's going on and all that you're doing. I appreciate. So I think that's it. If anybody else we'll open this back up to public comment. No one here. So if that's the case, I will, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you very much.